Welcome to Conversations on the Edge with Tom and TJ, where Generation X and Millennial talk about restoration, the Edge version 3, and the world.
All right. Are we going back to hockey talk? What are we talking about now? I love it.
All right. Hey, everybody. And maybe we'll tell you what we're laughing about. Maybe we won't. But welcome to Conversations on the Edge. It's Tom and TJ again. We're very honored this morning to have Michelle Blevins with us. So we're going to start out with something fun and exciting that's happening in our lives. And Michelle, since you are our guest of honor, why don't you rock and roll? What's something fun and exciting going on in your life right now?
Well, we're always wading through hockey parent life over here. That's where we are at. So we've had a few tournaments. We've been to Nashville. So we live in Michigan, for people that are not familiar. I live in Metro Detroit. So my older son he's 11 and he's a goalie for a travel team. And then my younger one is 6 and he's still in like the Mites half ice, whatever, which is also where TJ's son exists, and kind of this half ice, cute little, like, they don't know what they're doing yet, but they try very hard.
And they can't stop skating.
Yeah. They put on the goalie pads, and because they're so big, they think that they're really good goalies because they save most of them simply for the sake that the net is this big and the pads are there as big as the net.
And the puck is moving really slow.
Really slow. It's almost painful. You watch some of them, you're like, oh, get it. I remember looking back, though, how stressed out I was when Levi played at that level, and now I watch it, I'm like, this is so much fun. There's like no pressure here. The further into it Levi gets, the more it's like, we reached the point with hockey this season for him of realizing it was time to invest in a like actual goalie program, like mentorship program. He's done private lessons and been part of a goalie program, goalie school for the whole time he's been a goalie. Which he started when he was 6 and he's 11 now. So he's done camps and lots of things. He has weekly goalie coaching, but he just started a more like intensive mentorship program. And that's an interesting place to get to in sports. So that's kind of what we're wading through. But it's like, oh, you're kind of at the level like middle school, 11, 12 years old of now, if he wants to play in college and wants to make it to AAA, now it is okay, we got to work on the development. And we're not the parents that are so, foggy-eyed that we think our kid's going to be the next NHL pro. We're not like that. He just loves it, as does Luca. And so it's fun to invest in what your kids love. And so they happen to pick hockey. Maybe could have picked something a little easier on the wallet, but
It's
worth it. It's worth it.
It is so worth it. It is worth everything.
It is expensive. Like we were talking, my family up in Fargo, North Dakota, Minnesota. I mean, North Dakota, Minnesota, Michigan, that's the hockey world, and they're going. They have, three of my great nieces and nephews are all in hockey, and one is in high school now, and one is just about to get into high school, and so they're getting at that point where they're starting to drive, so now they can start driving themselves to these events. So I'm thinking that will help my sister and her husband, group and grandma, but they love going up. They will do 3 to 5 hockey games in one day, or matches, or what do they call them? Is it a game or is it a match? Game. And I should know that. I'm sorry to my sisters in North Dakota, but
you live where it's sunny and warm. It's okay, even though there is hockey.
Yes, I get to go visit them. I love it, and I love to go to the hockey games and watch the kids play. It's amazing, actually, because they're like these. When they get into their like 8 and 10, they're like little. They don't look little on the when they come on, but when they take their pads off, they're like 40 pounds, and they're out there, moving like, big people. And it's like, wow, look at that. And it's really cool. It's really cool.
It is. We're at the point of like, like puberty level. So now we play some teams where like the other kids could have driven themselves there. We're a relatively small team, but we look at some of these other kids that have hit puberty that are the same age or like maybe a year older, and it's like, you are humongous. You're adult size. And I guess we're gonna see how that goes. And it kind of depends. But
Well, as they get older, they start checking into the side and stuff, and they start getting violent. So it's interesting as the progression happens.
That's honestly where I'm glad I'm a goalie mom. I don't actually worry about my goalie being safe, but the checking and
Yep.
Goalies are so heavily protected by their team.
Yep.
So
Yep.
TJ, we talked about earlier, your son doesn't have a position yet, but do you have like a crystal ball of like, I think he's going to be X, or not yet?
Oh yeah, he loves playing like wing. I mean,
Okay.
he's all in the action. He wants to be all over the ice, playing offense, playing defense, scoring goals.
Yeah.
He's, he thinks he's going pro, and so when he scores a goal, he's down on one knee, pumping a
Got a big
fist and
belly.
like banging on the glass, and I'm like, dude, you don't even know how to stop on your skates. Like, talk to me then. You either hit somebody or a wall.
I want to see a video of his next celly, or a celly that
Yeah.
you have, please.
All right, I'll get
I'm
you
all
one.
about a cute celly because my 6-year-old does the same thing. So yeah.
No, that's awesome. For everybody out there, if you don't know about hockey, go to a live hockey. If you have the NHL in town, or if you have a local hockey arena, go check it out. It's so much fun live.
Yep.
Especially the NHL or any, right below, any of those league teams or anything. It's fun, and it's a good time, and you're not there for like 3.5 hours like you are with baseball or anything like that. But baseball is kind of where you go to drink beer and just stare out at stuff, and so there's not much lot. But for our baseball lovers, I apologize, but it's where I go to a baseball stadium, to a baseball game, to really just kind of chill, hang out with clients. You can have a long conversation and all that stuff. You go to hockey, you're not usually going to have a conversation. So.
Our kids don't make it through baseball games. They're so used to hockey that we try to take them to other sporting events, and they're like, why doesn't this move faster? Why is there no like crazy pump it up music between everything? There is, but there's not.
Yeah. Yeah, it's fun. It is different, but it's a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun, and it's fun to see the kids. They're emulating the guys that they see on TV, and they get they're pumped up. They're hearing the same music and everything, so they're like all fired up and everything. But they do get a pretty big ego. Yeah, you got to check their ego every once in a while. All right, so you're 8 years old. Stop. Pump the brakes.
The parents do too. One of the things I don't like about Michigan is how we're not districted like Minnesota is, where it's like where you live is the organization that you play for, and you try out and you make whatever team you make based on your skill level. Michigan is not like that. It's like a free for all. So you can try out for kind of anybody, and there are out of district spots. If you're out of district, the amount of drama that happens every season around tryouts, who's doing what, who's going where, what are you trying out for, what are you doing, oh, who's going to make this team, oh, that kid's not going to make AAA, their parents are so dumb having them try out for, it's like, oh my gosh, I wish that it was literally, and we do tryouts in the spring. So we do like the full winter, and then we do tryouts like at the end of March, and then we do spring hockey, and some kids play for their old team and some kids play for their new team in spring hockey, even though we already had tryouts. Then we have the summer off for 2 months, and then we start fall with the team that you tried out for in March.
Yep. It is crazy. I think my family in Fargo, I think they have like 4 weeks off where they're not traveling with hockey. But they love it. Kids are only kids for so long, and the day will come and they won't be there anymore. They'll be on with their lives, and you will remember these times, very special times that you'll remember. And I know that's how my mom looks at it, and she's 97, and she goes to the games, but she cuts it off at 3. Once once they've done with three, she's I'm out.
I'm impressed she can make it through three because my parents cannot. And my parents are in their mid 70s. My in-laws can. My in-laws come to everything and don't
Yeah.
miss a thing.
Yeah.
But they're a decade younger than my parents. My parents are good for like a game. Tournament weekends wipe them out. They cannot. They are exhausted by the end, even if they're
You
just
know what I love,
riding around.
Michelle, you know what I love about youth hockey games is most of the parents are drinking beer or have something hidden in a flask, unlike
That's what we
baseball
were
and
gonna say.
soccer.
Yeah, especially the stressful games. Sometimes this is
Yeah.
the only way to make it. And man, it really is the parents. You see those memes on like the internet sometimes about how it really is sometimes you want to beat the other team simply because of the parents.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
I don't want to lose because of your parents. Your parents are crazy.
They're
Calm
annoying.
down. We are 11. We are not in the NHL. Everybody relax.
Yeah.
Doesn't work.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm going to stop right there because I have hockey moms in my family, and so I'm not going to stay anymore. So I probably already said too much, but so switching from TJ, do you have anything fun and exciting going on in your
Yeah, I
world?
mean, we're gearing up for Christmas. My wife's parents are coming in town and she found out about our podcast. So, I'm not going to talk bad about my mother-in-law because I just love her to death, since she watches this. And but we do some fun stuff at Christmas. We get assigned a family member, and this year we're doing Tacky Christmas. And I got my brother, who's, we're very close in age. He's 18 months younger than me. And I got him some of the most ridiculous tacky gifts that I could find, like taco holders that are like the shape of, a monkey, just crazy stuff. And I'm super excited to give it to him and mess with him.
That's awesome. White elephant stuff is the best. So much more fun, I think, than like, I don't know, being too serious about life.
What is going on with CNR? What are some of the highlights from 2025? And then what can we expect out of 2026? And then I'll kind of update you on what TJ and I are working on also.
Love it. I think our first exciting thing, now that I've thought this through a little bit more, our first exciting thing was launching the Emerging Leaders Award, which launched at RIA in 2025, and that recognized some of the best up and comers from a lot of the restoration companies that we all know very well. I think the next generation of leaders in the industry, so 40 under 40 is essentially what the award is, and we recognized 5 up and coming restorers. We had a lot of entries and nominations for that, and judges went through them, and through all of that and tallying things up and all of that, we ended up with the top 5, which we got to celebrate at RIA, which was awesome. So we're doing that again in 2026. Nominations and entries for that will open up at the end of January and go through February. And again, it'll be part of RIA and hopefully like a little party associated with it and some other things. So I love that. I got my start in the industry with the YPRC, which was the Young Professional Restorers Committee through the RIA back in the day. And that's how I met like Jeff Jones and Matt Hensley and Chris Yonker from Buffalo, and a lot of the people that I'm like Nicole Humber, a lot of people that I'm probably closest friends to in the industry, I met through the YPRC. And so I'm excited that there's something new again to kind of help younger people in the industry, the up and coming leadership of our industry, meet each other and get spotlighted and all of that. So that was huge for 2025. And the other thing was launching Clean Magazine. So it's mycleanmagazine.com is where you can find it. But we have had a couple iterations of it. We did a soft launch in October, and I ended up not loving how the landing page kind of website looked. We had it tied into the CNR site as kind of a subsite, and that didn't function the way I wanted it to. So now we have the fully separate website that just launched this week. And the idea between that is obviously CNR is cleaning and restoration magazine. So we cover the cleaning side, but CNR really has established itself, and it did before I even owned it. I mean, even when the RA owned it and ran it, it was truly like the high level leadership magazine of the industry. That's what it's always been. So it's had leadership articles and, maybe financial stuff, M&A updates, like the leadership stuff, technology and AI, those kind of things. So I wanted a very clear, distinct place for more technical content to live. And so that's what the launch of this has been. So more like what is cleaning, the foundation roots of cleaning. Cleaning 101 is kind of what I say it is. So how to dry, how to use your moisture meters, how to know if a slab of concrete is dry, how to dry certain flooring, how to get odors out, how to clean soot, though, you know, all of the tech contents cleaning, that kind of technical content is where that's going to live. So we're doubling down on that kind of content in 26 so that we can have more of that and more ongoing kind of continuing education. I hear from restorers all the time that they're like, oh, I loved this article and I emailed it out to my team, or I liked this article that was in the magazine and we passed it around. So the hope is that Clean will give restorers even more resources to take into their training meetings or whatever to send to their team to help as they continue like ongoing education day to day in their companies, because that's tough. And I know that the good restorers out there do try to keep that going. And so hopefully we can be a better resource for like the technician project manager level than I think we have been.
Yep.
Yep.
So is that a good resource for, you know, like a company like mine to get my technicians signed up for?
Yes, absolutely. Everything is still free. We had another, so we're in the process of, we will probably get to the point where we'll offer IICRC CECs as well for doing certain things on the website. We used to have a kind of sister digital publication where people could read it and take a quiz at the end. And if you passed, you got 3 CECs for doing that. So we will likely, and that was all free. So we'll likely do something like that with Clean and get that going in 26. I know I have people reach out to me all the time that, you know, need their CECs to keep their WRT or ASD or whatever that is current. So we should have opportunities like that, and everything's free. So can't be free. We just did a webinar a couple weeks ago with Legend Brands talking about dehumidifiers and kind of best practices around those, and desiccant drying, those kind of things. So all that kind of content lives there. Lots of opportunity.
Very good. Very good. You know, and for us, you know, TJ and I are working on is a little bit of a rebranding for large loss mastery. Because one of the things that, you know, a lot of the, you know, because 75% of the industry is in residential. Mm-hmm. And then, you know, out of that group, you know, what we focus on in a training at large loss mastery is now we're going to focus on, it's been large loss, it's been large commercial. Now we're going to add in elements of residential and small commercial, which we always had small commercial in there, but the residential piece will be a new piece that we're going to add into the same format of training that we do, because it's going to be loss mastery. So it's still going to be under the banner of the solutions company, and part in large loss mastery will be part of that. So it's going to be loss mastery. And so TJ is going to be helping me with the residential side, since I've been a commercial guy all my life. TJ is a residential expert, and he's also an expert with the Edge estimating software. And so as we grow the Edge, continue to grow the Edge with in Circle, and Circle is also going to be more plugged in also. And so there will be a lot of residential elements and small restoration project elements that will be plugged into what was just strictly large loss mastery. And so we're trying to be more encompassing but offering the same type of experience that we've been giving to our large loss guys. So now when you come to the class, we'll have our training. We'll have case studies that are residential, as well as mid-level commercial, as well as large loss. So the goal is so that even though you're residential, because the thing about when you're doing residential, the day is going to come and you're going to get that opportunity to do a commercial large loss job. That opportunity is going to be there. It's my job to make sure when that moment happens, when you hit that intersection, that you're ready. That when that intersection of opportunity and preparation we want you to be ready, and these classes will be able to do that for you. And so I'm really excited. So in the case study breakout scenario where, you know, we're still going to be at Kennedy, we're still going to do these, but what the attendee will find out, and what TJ already knows, and what he's going to be able to teach them, because he's, you know, a restorer. I'm a restorer. TJ's in the heat of the battle as with his restoration company, and so they're going to be learning. You know, not because, like I always tell people, whatever we teach, we do, and we do it every day. It's not something, you know, teaching isn't something that I'm doing because I don't do anything else. I'm very active in my consulting and everything else, and everything that I teach, I put into practice. And TJ is going to show restorers in the residential world how to do that. And once you do that, they will understand, and it will start to open up their eyes and be like, oh, okay, maybe we should do some commercial, and maybe we should do more, you know, outside of where we are, outside of our current lane. I hate it when people say we want guys to stay in their lane. We don't want them to get over their head. And I'm like, when you're out of your lane and over your head is where you learn.
Yes.
And grow.
And grow. And unfortunately, I won't mention any names or any organizations, but I've heard that, and I'm members of these organizations, and you know, some of the older school, and they say we want our guys staying in their lane. We don't want them getting in trouble and all this. I'm like, you know, you guys both have children. Are you trying to keep them in their lane so they don't get in trouble? I mean,
no.
You can't do that and be successful. And so very excited about Loss Mastery. That's going to be launching. We've already actually launched our schedule for next year. And all of our classes next year are going to include residential and small commercial elements.
I love that.
What I'm most excited for, Tom, is like, this isn't a class where you show up to get your CECs and you might learn a couple, you know, tidbits and go home and not apply anything. That's not how we structure this thing. Like, I'm gonna be very blunt and honest with you and show you, you know, how I've applied what you taught me, and you know what it's gotten me to. So this is actionable stuff that you can take home and implement.
I'm curious both of your perspectives on the residential side, and so like tease this out a little bit, and obviously this isn't going to give everything away, but what do you think is like the big thing that you see restorers missing, or that they could be doing better on the residential side of things? Obviously, Tom, you've been talking about large loss for years, but on the residential side, I'm curious what you both see as restorers could be doing a lot better in this area.
Oh, I mean, there's two things that stand out to me, and that's onboarding the customer and walking them through the journey, and providing upfront pricing instead of just doing the job, taking all the risk for the company and seeing where you end up, you know, after the fact. And so those two things right there, you know, can change your business if you focus on them with intent and get it right.
Yeah. How in depth should the onboarding process be? There's a big spread of that in the industry, right? Where there are some people that is like, it should be like a day-long course for onboarding your customer. And then there's the other side of like, we don't onboard at all. So what is good onboarding? Again, don't give it all away, but I'm curious like where your take is. What does it look
Well, I
like?
think it's different for every restorer, right? Like we all do things a little bit different,
Yeah.
but for me, like our methodology is do the hard shit first and have the hard conversations first. And so if you throw it all out there on the table, and you're fully transparent, it makes the entire process after that so much easier. So I think we as people like to avoid the confrontation and having the hard conversation and talking about money and deposits and payments and holding people accountable. So we avoid it. But if you focus on it with intent and you're professional about it, your customer understands, and that it becomes a lot more relatable, and it makes the whole project easier.
Yeah, absolutely. I love that. Tom, I'm curious. Sorry, I didn't mean to take over and start asking
No,
questions.
no.
Take over.
Can't help myself. Okay, Tom, what are people missing in residential? And then I won't ask any more questions.
No, I love it. Are you kidding me? And thank you also for being one of our sponsors. And I'm very excited that we're carrying that over into 2026. And there's going to be some really cool things that we're going to be doing. And I want to get you in more involved in more of our classes too, where when you can pop in, if you can pop in or
Yes.
Zoom in, all of that stuff. And so, but my big thing with all restores, and because I throw us all in the same pot, and what everybody is missing is the two numbers that that everybody needs to know about their projects: your square footage number and your production rate. You need to know those on whether you're doing commercial, residential, whatever it is. Square footage number and production rate. And most restorers can't tell you either one. And that's unfortunate. Now, the old school guys, they've been around forever. We all have square footage numbers in our head that we can put out there instantly. But for most restorers, they don't have that experience to where they have that data inside that AI in their head, and so those would be the biggest things: is pay attention to your performance, not only on this job, but all of your other jobs, because what you did in the past affects what you're doing today, and it affects what you're going to do tomorrow.
Yes. Okay. That's awesome.
And we teach them all of the above. When they leave our class, they're ready. They can literally put everything that we teach them to work that day.
That's good. That makes it more valuable. It's, going to classes and stuff is fun, but it's good when you go and you can take stuff out immediately versus like, okay, now I have to figure out how to implement this and then get everybody on board and doing it this way. And I don't know if I could do that. And so.
Well, and that's why the evolution of large loss mastery had to happen. Because again, this is year 10. This is the 10th year already, which I can't believe. In June, it'll be our 10 years on the dot. And it was time for a change. Mm-hmm. Time for, okay, what is next? Because it's a great class, great program, but I didn't feel like we were reaching everybody. And I want everybody to have the opportunity to go through these classes, because they're put together with all of the best practices of my 40-year career, which has been with some amazing restorers, some amazing people. Most of them are still in the business. I have, my mentors are still in the industry, and they're 44 and 45-year veterans of restoration, and mostly commercial. And, I've been very blessed. It took me all over the world. We've done projects in Singapore, Kuwait, Mexico, Canada, Costa Rica, West Indies, Virgin Islands. I mean, we've been everywhere because of restoration. And so we plugged all of that information. Everything that we've learned over the years is all plugged in, so that when you leave, you leave with things that work, because we talk about what works and what doesn't, and why it doesn't work, or why it does work, and why you should. And so it's more than just coming in and learning. You do get your IRCRC credits. Most of our classes are 14 CEC, so everybody, they can come in and have some fun. We usually feed you well, and we have fun. We have fun with it too, because I want it to be fun, because I don't, and we bring in guest speakers, and we're going to have more guest speakers this year also. And we just had astronaut Clay Anderson at our December class, which was really cool and awesome. And so for, that's kind of that's my class that I love. And I hate it when it's over. I'm actually totally, the week after, like last week, I was just totally exhausted.
Oh,
but
sure.
but I couldn't do it. I had to fly to Detroit and go through 2 days of meetings in Detroit, and then back here for another meeting, and then I finally got some rest over the weekend.
Well, it was nice and snowy in Detroit for you, I'm guessing. We've had great weather. So
It was nice and cold. I was testing out my new ski jacket that I went through 3 years of not being able to ski because I grew up out in northern Nevada, out in Reno, Lake Tahoe, Carson City, and I have both my hips replaced, and then I had to have one repaired. So I've had 2 hip replacements and 3 surgeries in 3 years, and so I wasn't able to ski, but I am training right now, and I'm getting back on the mountain in February, and so I have my new ski jacket, and I was testing it out, and it worked out great in Detroit. It was cold, so
it is cold.
And it did snow, but I got out of the airport. Everything was good, and nothing to complain about.
No, Detroit itself has come a long way. That could be a whole other podcast, but Detroit is so nice, and there's so much to do now. It's very fun. Great restaurant, great nightlife. Well, you saw that too because you were here for the core event as well. If you were down here, you were up here for that. So
yeah, Detroit is having a resurgence. And which is great to see, or renaissance, or whatever you want to call it. But I've always liked Detroit, but it was just there, in the early 90s. It was touch and go.
There's a lot of areas in Detroit where if the light's red, it doesn't matter. You just keep going.
Yeah, you keep going. Yeah.
You just keep going. But there's still areas like that, but the downtown is really nice and come along.
The state of the cost of doing business report. When does that come out for everybody that is waiting on that? And I don't know if we did an update on any of the changes that you guys did to that.
Perfect. Thank you for the tee up. So cost of doing business is the RIA's report that did just come out in the last few months. So you can get that at costofrestoration.com. That's free to download for everybody. So the state of the industry, our 2020, our next survey period launches the second week of January. So you can go to stateofrestoration.com for that one. We do that in partnership with Know How. We did change things up a little bit. So for people that are familiar with CNR, you saw that we just did an industry pulse check, which was like 6 questions, took people literally 90 seconds or less to fill it out. We're out. And then we provided in our last issue kind of the data from that, just showing where the industry's at, how it's going, getting paid, what the claim time, what that's looking like, overall morale, AI usage. Like it was like 6 just big topics in the industry. So we took a look at that for the pulse check. But in the past years, when we've done the full report, which is actually like a full book, if you've ever downloaded it, they're like 80-page books with actual action things that you can do at every chapter. It's a full report. In the past, our survey period has been like July of one year to like March of the next year. So you're getting weird data sets where you're not actually seeing what a year in the industry looks like a calendar year. You're seeing, it was a weird like 9-month window that you were getting this data from. So we decided to pivot. So now the study that's going to launch the second week of January will be asking about your 2025. We're going to take a look at the full 2025 calendar year and what that was like for the industry. And so then the data you're going to see in the new full report that will come out at RIA at the end of April will be a look at the 2025 calendar year. So hopefully moving forward, you're going to be able to have the spines of this on your bookshelf if you get the print version of it that says, 2022 state of the industry, 23, 24, 25. So you actually have it by calendar year moving forward. And because cost of doing business has gotten some legs through the RIA, and that has more kind of financial stuff on the industry. We're really focusing on making sure that the state of the industry complements it and has different data points that are also helpful. So this is going to be more qualitative. We've always done like rankings of top software, top where people shop for their equipment, whether it was John Donne, Gone Now, or Ramsco, that We've had several other rankings that have been in there. So we are adding more of that for the next survey, asking people to weigh in on the most respected restoration companies in the industry, maybe, and weighing in on consultants, weighing in on that kind of stuff. So going beyond software to give more like, here's the best of the best in the industry across the board in other topics. Talking more about AI and the best usage of that, more about digging into morale and burnout. We found that to be pretty interesting the last time around because that was something new we added. So that's where we're at. So the more people that take it, the better the data will be. But the data set has gotten bigger and bigger every year, and it's definitely big enough to mean that the report truly is factual. We would not publish it if it was not. So it's a big data set, and what you see is truly a very good snapshot of the industry.
And what's cool too is you have a few years, because what is this, the third year?
This will be the fourth. So we'll have like
fourth year.
benchmarks. Yeah.
So now you've got a lot, we're down the road to where you're dialing it in and you're fine tuning it. And so that it's really exciting, because I think it is crucial for everybody out there that's a restorer, that you understand the industry, that you understand where we've been, you understand where we're going, because remember, we're always on that journey. Here's where we are today, here's where we're going tomorrow, and here's where we're going to be in the end. And so, Michelle, it has been a pleasure. I don't know, you have anything else you want to throw out there before I forgot to push record, and so we had to redo. And so I appreciate both of you hanging out. And I'll blame it on Zoom. Zoom changed its literally since yesterday, because I was on for 3 hours yesterday with Encircle doing a big Ask Me Anything. So they literally asked me anything about large loss for 3 hours, and which was interesting. That's on tape too, so it was really good. So it's available through Encircle, I do believe. So if anybody's interested in that, it was really good. There were some great questions in there, and for everybody, remember the two things you need to remember: square footage and production rate. And in our loss mastery classes for 2026, we're going to be focusing on all of that for both residential and commercial. And so very excited about that. Very excited.
Well, thanks for having me, you guys. It was fun chatting about all the things, and I look forward to partnering with you guys more in 2026. Thanks for all you.
We hope to have you at one of the classes, Michelle.
Yes, I want to do more than pop into one. I'm trying to be more strategic about travel, as I think everybody is. There's so many events and so much to attend, and it's also hard, TJ, I know you get this in the area of having small children.
Yep.
Oh, we just need to tag team it. I'll bring my wife, you bring your husband, and we'll send them to, whatever water park is closest, and while we're in class.
That'll be great. Perfect. Well, I look forward to seeing you both in 2026 for sure.
Very
Absolutely.
good. Thank you very much. Thank you, guys. Cheers.
Thanks for listening to Conversations on the Edge with Tom and TJ. Don't forget to subscribe on your favorite podcast platform. And if you like what you hear, leave us a review. Join us next time for another Conversation on the Edge.